Hey everyone, it's Adam here. I can't see the guy. I might as well get the movie. Bear with me one moment. Okay. Coming to an end of the Robocop franchise, everybody, and thankful for that. For those of you who haven't watched my previous Robocop reviews on Robocop 1 and Robocop 2, I own the Blu-ray trilogy right here. And it does include Robocop 3, unfortunately. Robocop 3, that came out in the year of 1993. Jesus fucking Christ. I don't know where to start. First of all, let me just say, I adore the first Robocop movie. It's one of my all-time favourite movies. It's got to be in my top 5. That's how much I love the movie. It had everything in an action movie that you could possibly want. Robocop 2, granted, it's not as good as the first movie. I have a few problems with it, but at the same time, I thought it was a decent sequel. And it was good to see Peter Weller come back as Robocop, and Nancy Allen, who plays the female copper, Lewis. You know, it has its few little problems, Robocop 2, but there's nothing too serious. But this Robocop 3, I mean, you have Robocop 1, which goes from amazing to Robocop 2, decent, but then all of a sudden you get Robocop 3 that goes all the way down fucking here. I'm not kidding you, everybody. This movie was a complete fucking pile of piss. I don't know where to fucking start. There's so many things that are negative about this movie than positive. But you don't have to take my word for it. I'll just read you some of the facts right now. The film was a critical and box office failure. Only grossed $10 million worldwide against its $22 million budget. Wow. Make it the least profitable film in the Robocop franchise. Okay, where do we begin with Robocop 3? My first problem, PG-13 rating. The first two movies of Robocop 1 and Robocop 2, rated 18 for its extreme violence, drug use, you know, just it's your typical over-the-top rated R moments. Murphy being blown to fucking pieces. Ed 209 fucking annihilating Kenny in part 1. In part 2, Officer Duffy gets fucking cut with a blade down his belly, and you got a fucking, bizarre I know, a fucking drug-addicted robot fighting Robocop. You know, in some classic scenes. But this, why make it PG-13? Why? What was the whole point of that? You know, why make it PG-13? Like a kid's show? Did they somehow think like Robocop would make like a perfect superhero to kids or something like that? You know, why make it PG-13? It was doing so well, Robocop 1, but I've looked on some resources that Robocop 2 got shat on big time. Some people said it was too violent. They complained about the kid in Robocop 2, saying he had too much of like an adult-themed role in that movie, you know, shooting cops, dealing with drugs and doing all that kind of shit. But what do you expect? It's an action rated R movie. You're going to see adult content in it. We should read that little sign at the bottom that says viewer discretion is advised, or for mature audiences only. Not for people who are going to get fucking pissed off or fucking arse bit by rated R scenes. Even if they are played by kids or whatever. But Robocop 3, what can I say other than it was like more than a box office failure? It was a mixture of shit, piss and vomit. That's what this movie was. So many problems. Yet in some resources, people say that Robocop 3 was better than Robocop 2. I can never understand that. Even the remake, they say, was better than Robocop 2. I can never get my head around that. I've not found... They state that these films are better than Robocop 2, but they don't give any specific reason why. But this film really pissed me off when I watched it. I mean, I watched it all the way through once when I first got it on VHS. Got rid of it the following weekend to a car boot sale. And I got the DVD box set, which I had no choice between Robocop 3, and now I've got the Blu-ray Robocop 3 in there also. So how many times have I watched Robocop 3? I watched it once all the way through years ago, and then I watched it halfway through about a couple of years ago. So only once have I ever watched it properly, and to tell you the truth, I've never paused a movie to go and take a piss so much. I've never forwarded a movie so much to help people get to better scenes. Never did any of that. But with Robocop 3, it was stop, pause, piss break, stop, pause, answer the phone, stop, pause, ring up a friend, forwarding to see if we get some good parts, you know. On that scene. I mean, basically what it's about is Detroit's in the shitter again. And the first question I think of is, you know, since all the shit that Robocop saves the day in Part 1 and Part 2, how can Part 3 get any worse? What's Robocop 3 going to provide to us to make us think it's better than drug-addicted robots? What's it going to do worse than doing Clarence Bodiger causing crime all over the city? What are they going to do to top it off? And instead they've got this this group that are evicting people out of their homes in Delta City. So that's their idea of making someone even more evil. A group that's forcing people out of their homes. They want to demolish all these homes because they want to make the city a bigger place or whatever. Anyhow, this is where the first fuck up happens. They introduce this little girl who is an expert with computers. How old is she in this movie? I can't really tell, but she was very young. Yet she's a computer genius. She can hack things. And you'll never fucking believe what she can hack. The likes of Ed 209. Really? She's that much of a genius. She's got her own little computer thing. You know, she's got action figures of Robocop and Ed 209. She's got this book, and apparently that gives her all the fucking intellectual knowledge that she can hack into Ed 209 and robots. I mean, she gets separated from her parents when their house gets demolished. She ends up getting rescued by this other group lead, this other group who are trying to protect their own homes and their rights. But they're also into crime. And this is where the point that made me turn my head in disbelief. They go to rob this base or a military place to steal all these guns to protect themselves from the OCP or whatever. And the first encounter they come across is Ed 209. What's your first reaction? Shit your fucking pants, right? You shit your fucking pants. We're talking about a robot that absolutely bled Kenny to a fucking pulp in Part 1. It was a creation by Dick Jones, who was going to create 209 to fucking save Delta City. Right? This robot fucking annihilated Kenny in Part 1 until there was nothing left of him. His guts splurt all over the place. There was blood everywhere. Fucking annihilated him with these supreme bullets, these rockets. And we're talking about a robot that even Robocop just barely survived. But no, in Robocop 3, we got this little girl who sees Ed 209 for the first time, and she's like, "Oh look, Ed 209!" You know, and she literally runs up to Ed 209 with no fear whatsoever. Plugs her laptop into the Robocop's leg, and says, "You watch this, he'll be loyal as a puppy." And then Ed 209's about to fire, and he goes, "Loyal as a puppy," and then turns off. So, you mean to tell me this killing machine went from that all the way to being as loyal as a puppy in Part 3? And look what stopped him. A little girl who hacked into his system. So, bullets couldn't stop Ed 209. Rockets couldn't stop Ed 209. Robocop barely survived Ed 209. A badass killing machine went from that all the way to a loyal as a puppy, and he got defeated and outsmarted by a little girl who hacked into his system. Okay, so we get that. That was the biggest shitter. You shat on Ed 209, a badass character, badass robot. And then she programs the Ed 209 to fire at these cops. And he must be using the most worst bullets in older fashion, because when he shoots at the cop cars, instead of them exploding and blowing up, it was like a tick, 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 tick. You know, just these weak bullets that were going into the cop cars. And honestly, it was the worst effect you could ever see in your life. It was like as if the cars were being shot at by a fucking catapult or something, or a fucking pellet gun. The bullets were like tick, 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 all along the metal of the cars. So, and then we never see Ed 209 ever again. So that was a good exit for Ed 209. So they proceed to steal all these guns to protect themselves against OCP. And we do not see Robocop for the first 15-20 minutes of the movie. At all. It skips forward to this guy who walks into a donut shop, threatens to steal all the money, and then, without somehow even noticing, this whole donut shop is filled with cops, because cops love fucking donuts, and one of the cops in there was Lewis. Nancy Allen comes back, but get this, Nancy Allen didn't want really anything to do with this movie, and she agreed to do this movie only if a character gets killed off. There's a scene where Nancy Allen's character is chasing these thugs or whatever. The car ends up crashing into this guy with a weird ass necktie. He ends up getting shot in quick fashion. I believe he starred in the movie Street Trash, I believe, which was a good movie, and he played a good role in that. But then he ends up getting killed by the Splatterpunks. And this is where we first see Robocop. He literally drives off a bridge, somehow lands perfectly clear on the floor in the cop car, makes an entrance by shooting a fucking hole in the ceiling of the fucking cop car with a gun hand. And surprise, it's not Peter Weller. Not fucking Peter Weller. How the fuck can you have Robocop without Peter Weller? And I can understand his reasons for not doing this movie. I don't know if he was unhappy with the script or what he wanted to do with other movies. Other resources suggest that he didn't do the movie because this suit made his body sore in Robocop 2. But the bottom line is, Peter Weller doesn't inspire Robocop. Instead, you get an actor playing him who I do not like, by the name of Robert John Burke. Robert John Burke acted in the Stephen King's movie Thinner. Played Billy in Thinner. I like that movie. A lot of people don't, but I'm not a big fan of John Burke in real life, because he absolutely did a horrendous job as Robocop in this movie. Nobody can play Robocop other than Peter Weller. Nobody. Fucking nobody. But John Burke plays him. You can tell it's a different Robocop just by the tone of his voice. You know. So they take out the Splatterpunks. There's a scene where Robocop goes through this glass set on fire. Turns on a fire hydrant. He gets soaked. He's all black all over because he's got burns. But he's perfectly fine. You know. But throughout the movie, there's just stuff you just do not give a shit about. You know. And Lewis gets killed off by getting shot to death outside a church. And this is a PG-13 movie. Robocop carries her in the church, and her last dying words were, "Get them for me," and then she dies on the altar. So, way to go. You fucking killed off a likeable character in Robocop 1 and 2. And Lewis dies. Robocop Partners dies. And what happens to Robocop? He goes out to impose the officers. He gets his ass kicked. And then he ends up lying in the sewer in shit and piss underneath the church. So that's a good way to shit on another, well, not any character, the main fucking character, Robocop. He lands in shit and piss in the fucking sewers, literally. But somehow, in the sewer area, he gets rescued by that group who's got the little girl who's the hacker. You know, they save Robocop's life. God, this movie is bad. And Robocop's then having flashbacks about his family again, and certain scenes from the first couple of movies where him and this little girl have a good connection, a solid relationship. You could say that Robocop 3 became like a kid's show, basically. There's no severe violence in Robocop 3. I mean, where's the moments? Where's the fucking, intrigueness? Where the fuck is everything? Robocop 3 has fucking none of it. Robocop 3 takes a big shit on the whole franchise in this movie. I've not even seen it on Blu-ray, and I've got no intention to. But, and it gets worse, believe it or not. It gets fucking worse. What can you have for villains in this movie? What can you have to top off Clarence Bodiger in part 1? What can you have to top off Ed 209? What can you have to top off Kane in part 2? A drug-addicted robot. What can you get to top all that off to face Robocop in the final showdown? I'm going to let you know right now. Robot ninjas. Can't believe I'm saying that. Robot ninjas. Robot ninjas that can do flips and kicks and stuff with swords, and this is going to be the thing to stop Robocop, right? And that comes true. They're trying to make these robot ninjas look more powerful than Clarence Bodiger. They're trying to make them more devastating and more vicious than Robot Kane. Because there's an ending sequence, they're thinking, what can we do that's so cool? So they put a jetpack on Robocop. He only uses the jetpack for literally a minute. He flies through the city where cops are fighting all these punks. He fires just one rocket only at some bad guys. Because you go, watch what they're doing, it's PG-13 here. Goes into the building and Robocop gets his ass kicked by the ninjas. So Robocop went from a hero to a fucking pussy, like. And who stops the ninjas? The little girl. Hacks into the system again. One of the robots has his head cut off without the sword even touching the neck. And the robots get fucking defeated. The ninja robots. And Robocop didn't even save the day. He gets his ass kicked throughout the whole movie. Basically making him look like a fucking pussy because I want to make all these villains look stronger than the ones in part 1 and part 2. Where's the fucking sense? What is the fucking point in all this? The movie I adored, Robocop, has gone from a shitty PG TV kids superhero movie. And Robocop is supposed to be the hero, but he gets fucking annihilated by 2 fucking ninja robots. Kiss my fucking ass. This movie was a fucking abomination. A complete fucking abomination. I mean, despite even this movie being a fucking failure, I still say it was better than Robocop 2, but I'll never understand the reasons why. I must be the only sane person left on this planet to actually think that Robocop 2 was better than Robocop 3. It's way better. It was even better than the remake part 2 was. But people would say, what's better, the remake or Robocop 3? They're both fucking vomit. But Robocop 3, when I saw that, I just wanted to annihilate myself. Because I never saw anything that was a complete rip-off, a complete shat-on. A lovable Robocop character, which I adored as a kid, got shat on like that. Played by Robert John Burke. And basically getting his ass kicked throughout the whole movie, and even in the final showdown, he doesn't even save the day. You got Ed 209, that got outsmarted by a little girl by hacking into his system and turning into a lawless puppy. Cop cars getting shot at with cheap bullets. Robocop flying with a jetpack, which is supposed to be, oh, that's so fucking cool. And he does it for like less than a minute. A little girl saving the day by hacking into the fucking robot ninjas. And Man, what the fuck, man? Let's see if I can look at some more facts. Frank Miller directed this movie. No, he didn't direct it, sorry. Fred Decker directed this movie. What the fuck was he smoking or drinking to make a movie like this? I'll never fucking know. I mean, it was released in, June 24th of 1994 in the UK, November 5th, 1993 in the US, and April 18th, 1993 in Japan. I'm sorry, everybody, but this movie was a fucking disaster. And it's even considered a popcorn movie. Consider that Part 2 couldn't even manage that. What the fuck is he smoking? Pace by side by side. You know what? I wouldn't even consider this movie fucking suitable for youngsters. Because it's just so retarded. Doesn't make any fucking sense. Everything that Robocop once was, a badass, a fucking hero, you know, a hero, a lifesaver, all the way to something like that. I'm sorry, it's a disgrace. This movie should be fucking banned. It's just so fucking awful. Awful is not the word. It was like watching a turd get flushed right down the fucking bog beyond all of us with the rest of the shit and piss in the sewer. Fucking hate the movie. I really do. Robocop 3, it's a fucking disgrace. That's all I've got to say. I mean, for those of you who like Robocop 3, that's fine. Some people may say Robocop 3 was a part of everyone's childhood because I wasn't allowed to watch the R-rated one, like Part 1 and Part 2 when they were younger. That's fine, but I'll never understand your reasons why you like Robocop 3. We're all entitled to our own opinion, I know that. I'm not going to insult those who like Robocop 3, but I, for one, would never like Robocop 3. It just took a shit on everything. Please like, rate and comment this email, and email me if you've got any questions on anybody. But we've come to the end now. I'm not going to review the Robocop series because they're even worse, believe it or not. But we've come to the end now of the franchise of Robocop, and thankful for that. I'll forever remember Robocop for being a decent, fun, loyal, ass-kicking action movie like in Part 1 and Part 2. I'll never remember it for Part 3. It's just a shame that the movie exists. Peace out, everyone.